Imagine getting a raise and somehow feeling even poorer. Your paycheck is bigger, but your money disappears faster. So where's it going? You look at your bank account at the end of the month and think, wait, I make a really good living now. How am I still stressing out about bills? It's a crazy cycle that traps millions of hardworking Americans literally every single day.
To really wrap our heads around this, we aren't just going to look at a bunch of dry, boring economic data in this explainer. Instead, let's follow a fictional American guy. We'll call him Alex. Now, Alex is doing everything right by the traditional playbook, right? He got the degree, he puts in the overtime, and he's climbing the corporate ladder. By all outside metrics, he's an absolute success story. People look at him and think, man, he's got it all figured out. But behind closed doors, sitting at his kitchen table at 11 p.m. with a calculator, his financial stress is just through the roof.
Okay, let's dive into this and think about how a typical career actually progresses. Back in 2019, Alex landed his starting salary. It was pretty modest, but hey, it covered the rent and ramen, you know? By 2021, those late nights paid off. He gets his first promotion, along with a decent bump in pay. Then, in 2023, he makes a strategic job hop, because we all know that usually gets you a way bigger salary jump than just staying loyal to one company. And now, flash forward to 2025, he's achieved a significantly higher income. On paper, Alex should feel financially invincible right now. He is a long way from those ramen days, and he's making substantially more money than he was just 6 years ago.
But here's where things get interesting. While his gross income has steadily marched up that mountain, his actual financial security, it hasn't moved an inch. In fact, he feels tighter on cash right now than he did back in 2019. It creates this totally bizarre illusion of success. Like the job title and the higher tax bracket, sure, they look amazing on a resume and maybe they even impress the neighbors, but the reality is this constant, super stressful juggling act of cash flow just to make it to the next payday. It's kind of like running on a treadmill that just keeps speeding up. You're putting in way more effort, but you're not actually getting anywhere. Now, the first culprit here is unavoidable. While Alex's income went up, so did the foundational costs of just, well, staying alive. We're talking about the non-negotiables: housing, groceries, healthcare, transportation. Over the last few years, these costs haven't just crept up, they have absolutely surged. So when Alex got that really exciting 10% raise, his rent might have quietly jumped by 8%. His grocery bills spiked by 15%. Filling up his gas tank costs more, and his healthcare premiums just kept ticking upward. These core living expenses basically act like an invisible tax. They automatically consume a massive chunk of that larger paycheck before he even gets a chance to enjoy it. He's literally earning more just to tread water.
However, as frustrating as inflation and the rising cost of living are, they aren't the whole story. The biggest expense isn't what most people think. It is so incredibly easy to just point the finger entirely at the broader economy, or the housing market, or supply chains. And yeah, for sure, they absolutely play a major role. But if we really want to understand why a smart guy like Alex feels totally broke despite a great salary, we've got to look a little closer to home. We have to look at the silent wealth killers, the ones that sneak in right through the back door while we're busy celebrating our promotions. And this brilliantly illustrates what's really draining Alex's wealth. It's the discretionary drain. A massive portion of his income is just devoured by consumer debt payments. And right next to that, a shockingly large chunk goes to this totally tangled web of monthly subscriptions. I mean, we're talking streaming services, app memberships, premium box deliveries, digital storage, half of which he honestly probably forgets he even pays for until they randomly hit his statement. And then there is the sneakiest wealth killer of all, lifestyle inflation. These aren't huge dramatic purchases. They're just the tiny incremental choices Alex makes every single day that slowly bleed his bank account dry, basically eating up whatever was left of that hard-earned raise. And this is where earning more can actually make the problem worse. It sounds completely counterintuitive, right? Like, how in the world can having more money be a bad thing? Well, it all boils down to the deep psychology of a higher income. We so often treat a raise like we just won the lottery, rather than seeing it as a tool for long-term stability. When you get that new salary, your brain sends this really powerful signal: hey, I am richer now. I've worked incredibly hard and I deserve to treat myself. The problem is that fleeting feeling of wealth usually completely outpaces the actual math of the raise. And that leads to financial decisions that lock you into a permanently higher, much more expensive baseline of living. Let's look at exactly how Alex handled his recent success. Because he felt richer, he ditched his perfectly fine, totally affordable apartment for a luxury building downtown with a premium view. He traded in his reliable, completely paid-off vehicle and financed a way newer, flashier car, locking himself into a massive $700 monthly payment.
He started picking up the tab at expensive dinners way more frequently, wanting to play the part of the successful professional. And ironically, assuming his big new paycheck would just easily cover it all later, he actually added credit card debt by swiping for weekend trips and fancy new gadgets. So he didn't actually build wealth, he just built himself a much more expensive golden cage. Which brings us to the absolute core of this whole explainer. We really have to draw a hard line between two totally distinct concepts: earning more money versus building wealth. They are so often treated as the exact same thing in our culture, but I promise you they couldn't be more different. Think about it. You can make $500,000 a year, but if you spend $500,001, you are still broke. Earning more money is simply a measure of cash flow. It's literally just how much water is pouring into the bucket. But if that bucket has holes in it, like Alex's expensive new car payment and luxury rent, it really doesn't matter how fast the water pours then. The bucket is always going to end up empty. So the crucial point is this: building wealth is the intentional process of retaining money and accumulating assets, rather than just perfectly matching your spending to your new income. True wealth is determined entirely by what stays in the bucket. It's the money that goes to work for you in investments, savings, and assets that actually compound and grow over time while you sleep. If your expenses always rise to perfectly match your new income, well, your net worth just stays at zero. You aren't building a financial fortress, you're just living a highly subsidized broke lifestyle. The bank account might look a lot busier, but it's not actually getting any heavier. So, how do we help Alex, and really anyone watching, escape this agonizing paycheck paradox? Well, here is the practical blueprint. 4 simple, highly effective lessons. Number 1, track where your money goes. You absolutely cannot fix what you cannot see. Sit down, pull up those statements, and audit every single subscription and daily expense. Trust me, you'll be shocked at what you find. Number 2, don't automatically increase your lifestyle after getting a raise. Give it 3 to 6 months. Let that new money settle in your account before making any major upgrades. This totally breaks that psychological trap of feeling rich overnight. Number 3, build an emergency fund. This creates a concrete financial buffer, typically 3 to 6 months of expenses, so you aren't forced into crushing high-interest credit card debt when a surprise medical bill or car repair hits. And number 4, the absolute most important one: put a significant part of every single income increase towards saving and investing before you ever get the chance to spend it. Seriously, treat your investments like your most important monthly bill. Let's see how this builds over time. By applying those 4 rules, Alex's financial future looks entirely different. He keeps his baseline expenses relatively flat, fighting off the urge to upgrade every single time his salary bumps up. And the real magic, that happens in that growing, beautiful gap between what he makes and what he spends. By directing that gap entirely into growing savings and investments, his rising income is finally doing exactly what it's supposed to do: generating real, tangible wealth. He's no longer just paying for a fancier lifestyle or trying to impress strangers at stoplights. He is literally buying back his own time. He is buying his financial freedom. Which leaves us with this final, powerful truth to carry with you: a bigger paycheck doesn't automatically make you wealthy. What you keep, save, and invest matters more. The next time you get a raise, a bonus, or even just find a little extra cash in your budget, I want you to ask yourself a hard question. Are you just going to use this money to buy a slightly fancier cage? Or are you finally going to use it to buy your freedom?